presentation. She has done original compositions entitled Putting Emotions to Sound. I'll allow her to kind of speak on the compositions, and then after that we have Charisma Williams doing her presentation.
Good morning, and thank you everybody for joining for today's presentation. This is called Putting Emotions to Sound, and my name is Kassandra Swiftney, and this morning I'm joined by Abby Baker on the trumpet, Austin Petrie on the French horn, and Ashlyn Curley on the trombone. And I would like to thank Peter Ford for being my mentor for all this stuff and advising me for writing all this stuff, and as well as like to thank the college and the Ribbons of Excellence Committee. I've written 3 brief pieces of music for a brass quartet. Each of these pieces has embodied characteristics of emotions that and I'm sure that you all have had at some point or another. The first movement is called Falling into a Lovely Feeling, and it was written with the intent of communicating how, despite the way a romance can be kindled, one can have doubts sometimes. Towards the end of this piece, almost feels like a bittersweet goodbye, one where you are smiling, there are tears in your eyes. This is giving a melancholic undertone to the entire piece. The minor rainy mood is ironically written in an A minor. It ties in with the first movement as one may be losing his hope and enters into a depression. When one is angsty, and even when someone starts to feel like there is some hope, and then they fall back onto being so angry and sad and like in this constant loop with all that stuff. This piece was originally supposed to be written like a haiku poem kind of, but didn't work out that way. Added too many syllables on accident, but it has grown to be the way it is today, into this amazing fire to be able to present and share with everybody today. Our final movement, and it's the freshest written, is entitled To Go Far. You just try. This might be the piece that resonates with me the most. It might be the most meaningful for me. If you don't know, I've only been a music person in the world for about 5 years, and as a music major, it has been one of my greatest disadvantages. And yeah, this piece was written in the light of knowing that even if we make mistakes, we don't feel like we're getting better with the things that we're doing. Truth be told, we are. Please enjoy the emotions. questions anybody has. It can be like about the composition, it can be about how like getting such a small group together and like playing and the difficulties of that, or like these ideas. So if anyone has any questions.
What was like the most difficult or challenging part about composing these pieces?
I think it was like sometimes I would go into the practice room with like expectation I'm gonna leave with a composition, and I wouldn't, because I wouldn't have anything like in my body, like emotion. I feel like me specifically, I feel like everybody might feel like this way, but the only way I can write the best I can is if I have like emotions intensified and such, because the last movement was actually written after I passed my piano proficiency, because that was the second time I took it, and I was like, I got it, girl, we did it.
I was just gonna ask you, like, if there are any like certain forms of like, inspiration that like really inspired you to do this. I mean, besides passing the piano, which is awesome.
I think with all of these, it comes from like feeling certain emotions and stuff, and like feeling like sometimes like we have droughts, like where we don't feel best. So like I feel like even if you don't feel great, you can write music or like write poetry or like write stories or whatever. I feel like that's when you get the best outcome, and even if it's like not the final project, it's the start of something.
Perfect, leads right into mine. So that start, how long does it take you to get, the gist of your composition down? And on top of that, how much longer beyond that point does it take you to polish it up to what it is now?
It can really depend on how long it takes to get started, because sometimes I'll have like a melody that I play on the piano and I'm like, this sounds good, then I try to pair with other stuff and it doesn't sound good. So if I go into the practice room and like I'm probably like doing this stuff and writing down the music, I just sit there, and usually it can take like 20 minutes or an hour depending on how like intricate it can be or how difficult it is to find like what fits with it. In terms of like making sure it's polished, a really big thing I've noticed is like the computer sound that you get versus the actual like ensemble. It's crazy difference. Like really have robot instruments playing, but like real people are so much different, and you have to change it a little bit so nobody is like freaking out and like, playing weird partials.
What was the rehearsal process like?
So we met like once a week for about 20 minutes or so, 30 minutes. Kind of like just getting together and reading through it, and like Pete Ford was there, and he like gave me suggestions on what to fix. Yeah, Pete Ford. He gave me suggestions on what to fix, and like practicing with people makes the music come to life, and it really like warms my heart that I get to do that.